We are live. Sin Politic, baby. Are we live? Let's see that thing come up on the screen over there. Make sure you subscribe if we are live. If not, I'm going to say this again. So just be ready for it. But we're talking about House of Dragon, House of the Dragon. We're still not popping up on the live, so I just want to make sure we're going before we start cutting up and getting into the episode. But this is episode 4, the red blank. I guess I'll leave that part. That's I don't want to spoil anything out the gate. Versus the gold, you know what I mean? So let's get into it. The episode starts out. We have, I also want to say, obviously, we got producer Ken off to the side trying to figure out if we're live, if we're not live. Just say, a hooty hoo.
It says we're live, but it's not showing the imagery yet. It does say it's loading, and I did just get a notification that popped down.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I might actually have. I don't know if this is just lagging behind. Turn this up real quick. Oh, no, that's okay. So, hey, we're live. Guys, we did our spiel. We are here. Subscribe, show some love. My name's James. I got producer Ken off to the side. Hooty hoo with the crowd. Okay, yeah, let's go. We're going to be talking about House of the Dragon. Like I said, excuse me, because we were over here freestyling, doing our thing, and you guys missed it. And we were trying to see if we were live, and it took a little bit of a delay. But today we're doing some things. I'm going to try to share this screen with you guys, and we'll see how it all goes. Let's see. Oh my God, we're snapping right now. It's gonna be upgrades, baby. We're here. But yeah, it's upgrade season. Make sure you subscribe. We're talking about House of the Dragon every week. We do podcasts. We talk about all kinds of different stuff here pertaining to sports, politics, music, everything you can imagine we get into here. Right now, we're taking a little bit of a pause because I'm editing a big content piece that we're going to put out. And I'm excited to look out for that next Tuesday. But just so you guys know what we're doing right now, focusing on it is House of the Dragon season. So as you see, Daemon here is in Dreamland, and I will say he still has a full head of hair. I'm betting on that's not going to be the case by the end of the season. That's just me. And also confirm our sound. Make sure that we got audio and all that real quick for it. But yeah, we are. He has a full head of hair, but this is Dreamland, so I don't know if you were to look at Daemon from a bird's eye view. Perfect. Without him being in Dreamland, it might not be all the way there because he's stressing. He's stressing in Harrenhal, which he took last episode. We talked about it. He just walked in there, and we saw him seize a castle just by showing up. I'm trying to think. This is when you have an independent nation on civilization. If you know, you know. You know what I mean? When they're independent and they're rioting and somebody just pulls up and takes them. It was very easy. He walked in there and just said, I'm here. They accepted that. So right now we have some word in the episode, by the way, there, because some people are talking about, hey, we need to go take Harrenhal. That's a lot of the debate around the episode with Kristen Cole. And he ends up setting his sights on a place called Rook's Rest. And then we'll get into that in this episode. That's very pivotal. But like I said, right now, Daemon is in Harrenhal and he's having fucking crazy hallucinations. By the way, Ken, hop in here if there's anything that you need to lay down with the episode in your notes, please, by all means. I just want to say you're a note taker. This is the thing. Right. Yeah, but Daemon, he's a crazy man. Right here in this scene, you're seeing where he's having a vision. Rhaenyra's in the vision. She's kind of they're talking Valyrian back and forth to each other. Actually, yes, High Valyrian, like us, but without the Valyrian part. But they're talking that, which I think there's an interesting contrast that you get in this episode. Later on, you'll see Aemon and Aegon. They're going to talk to each other in this language, and there's completely different intentions when they're sitting there having this conversation. I think even in the post-credit scene or whatever, where you see the directors talking about the episode, there's kind of this love language between Rhaenyra and Daemon when they use this Valyrian. It's a language secret that they only them and a few people know. So they can talk in secret. It's like when two people start talking in Spanish behind you in the gas station. Just saying, it's just true. You know what I mean? Same shit. But the basically we see that here, and they're having this conversation in the hall, and it's a little spicy. They go back and forth. He ends up cutting her head clean off. If I can actually pull up a still of that, that'd be sick. If you guys can get a peek of, yeah, we got young Rhaenyra. They're really saving some money, bringing her back in here, and sit that other Rhaenyra down for a couple episodes, or not for a couple episodes, but a couple scenes, letting her get a break, getting the water in. How do you feel about, by the way, seeing the young Rhaenyra from time to time? You guys can see me trying to fucking land on. I see the decapitated lady, and it's not letting me pull that up. When I look at that, come on, you see her in the little box,
Yeah.
and then what the hell? We got dude with his hands up. I didn't do it. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I've been loving the cameos, honestly. It's been nice to see her again.
A lot of
I
callbacks,
think
yeah.
a lot of people fell in love with the character and were upset at recasting, but in reality, they were never recasted. The original actors were put in place first, and then this young lady was cast after the fact. So it's just interesting. We all kind of like wanted to continue the story with the younger characters, and you see how many times Allison changed over to who she is now, and she was like 3 different actresses
No.
at one point.
I don't remember as far as like Allison changed. I know obviously Kristen Cole's the one consistent, unfortunately, that we've gotten.
Yeah,
Or the
he
man that doesn't age.
He
Yeah,
is ageless.
but Rhaenyra, I wasn't mad. I actually like the actress change with that. I like the older actress that portrays her more than I liked the younger actress that portrayed her, in my opinion. Rhaenyra really, I mean, this is something I've talked to you about off camera as far as like one comparison with Game of Thrones. It's just natural to make the comparison, so don't hate me if you make the comparison. It is what it is. It's natural. At the end of season 1, I feel like I was already super attached to a ton of those characters, 4 or 5, 6 of those characters, even ones that later I would end up hating, like Theon, and stuff like that. But with this, I think Rhaenyra, she's really won me over at the beginning of the season and throughout. Even in this episode, still, I feel like we'll get into some decisions that she makes later where, I feel like she has to make a tough call, but they still kind of like, it's the one questionable decision she makes, and I feel like she kind of gets saved with it, or at least it gets cushioned as far as how someone might portray that her making that move. But yeah, here either way, Damon's ruling. He is just kind of withering away. Remember the last episode where um, uh, the witch, she had said, what's her name? Alice Rivers. Alice Rivers, yeah, she's a bastard. He asked her in this episode, like, "Hey, are you royalty or whatever?" And she's like, "No, I'm a bastard." Well, she says my last name's Rivers, and he's like, "Okay, you bastard." He actually throws the title on her, and she's just like, "Yeah, and I'm also a witch. Motherfuckers don't play with me."
I mean, she said she's a barn owl.
Yeah, she did say that. Yeah, she said I'm a barn owl in human form. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stay away from you. She said everything she needed to let him know, don't fuck with me. A lady starts saying that she's a barn owl. Like, I mean, that's different than saying, my spirit animal is this or that. She said, I am that in human form. But yeah, there's that relationship that you see throughout this episode. And I think it does leave you, like I said, you see her, she does say that she's a witch. He's having these hallucinations consistently since day one. And in every episode when we've seen Damon this season, he's falling apart. She's the one that told him he was going to die there, right? Yeah, and I believed her, and I think he believes. It's like, oh yeah, this is probably where his character is going to end up dying here somehow.
He keeps waking up over and over again.
He's definitely not getting a good night's sleep.
Random situations,
yeah.
Not knowing how long it's been, where he's at, just having not heard anything anybody's saying. He's losing it. I mean, I don't know if it's just the tea. You kind of see him sipping continuously, so I don't know if he's just on that tea like that, but he is just losing time at this point. And he hasn't sent a raven.
This guy right here, Simon, too. Simon Strong, he doesn't give a shit. You can just sit there and chill all day and drink up all the drug tea you want. He's not in the way of that. He's actually just like, hey, are you good? That's kind of his role in the castle. He's
broke. He's got nothing going on.
He's just like, don't throw me out.
Giving ownership over.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's just like buying time before someone just decides to get rid of him, honestly.
And we do see, and we should say here, and we'll probably touch on it later, but just in case we forget later, because it's relevant. Larys, you had mentioned, remember, Larys mentions with this castle that he has control of all of the money, because Aegon, there's a scene with Aegon. This is close to the beginning of the episode as well, I believe, where they're doing like a small council situation. And remember, the small council has just been off the chain since Otto has been gone. So they're doing their thing, yelling in the typical fashion of a small council. Kristen Cole's not even there, so there is no hand to the king, actually. So the king is just berating the people on the small council, and he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you? This is your family's castle. What's going on?" And Larys is like, "One, that place is fucked up and haunted.
Yeah.
He mentions that right then and there.
Yeah.
He says the place is haunted. People shouldn't stay there. People will get fucked up. It's not cool. So I'm not going to go there. Basically, he's like, that's why I'm not there. One, not because I'm not scared. You know what I mean? I want to be clear. And then also, by the way, this is Master of Whispers now from last episode. We talked about that Aegon wanted a Master of Whispers, and he personally, right then and there, said, Laris, I like how fucking sneaky you are.
You notice this is the first episode where he's really had a full seat at the council table.
That's true. Which is weird to have your Master of Whispers be like on the council, be like, everybody know.
But everybody kind of already knows that he has influence. I mean, he kept the king from flying out previously when he shouldn't be. He does have a lot of sway in getting things to happen the way it should, and people kind of just step aside and let him freely roam anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's that shocking. He's always in the corner somewhere, lurking either way. So, you know, let the guy with the cane have a seat.
Yeah, definitely let him have a seat. Let him relax his leg, the one that he's using. But yeah, I think that so they have that conversation though. The reason that's important is because he says they have no money. So you see in this episode, like the scene that I'm showing you right now, the castle is just horrible. Yeah, dilapidated. It's a shithole. So nobody would want to live there. Also, this kid right here, he's one of the was he Blackwood or whatever? Yeah, I think he's Blackwood, if I'm not mistaken. And he's talking to Damon at the beginning of the episode. And Damon's like, get this pussy out of here. I need to talk to somebody serious. Like, Blackwood needs to send me somebody serious. You sent me a fucking... Oh, no. He's Tully. Tully, I see the fish. Yeah. He says some crazy shit, too. Like, Tully is a fish without a head. Just shits on this curly-headed kid. But he was right. The kid was all over the place. I don't know what they thought, sending Harry Styles over there to talk to Damon. But Damon is looking like he's about 30 years older, and he's having those hallucinations, and he's not sleeping. That's pretty much, we leave him there. We'll come back to Damon because there's more shit with him. Right here, this was a real weird scene. Rhaenyra is like, or Rhaenys. Yeah, Rhaenys, excuse me. She's like fondling this guy's face. I could show you several angles of this lady getting handsy on this guy's face. I thought it was weird. Her husband came over. Corlys was like, what the fuck? Break it up. Enough of that. Like, why are you seducing my wife with your beautiful skin? She was really giving him a whole like rub down.
He's being lazy.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Discussing things with his wife. He's like, do you still have work to do? And he's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I guess I do.
No, yeah. I think honestly in America, you fire that motherfucker. Don't talk to my wife, you bastard. Yeah. So she's talking to him. You know, I honestly, what did you get did you get anything serious from the scene? I mean, she's just thanking him like, you know, can I trust you out on the sea? I think maybe because she died. Well, okay, sure. Spoiler alerts.
Okay. Well, honestly, I did get something from this scene.
Okay, yeah, please.
When they go to
Shut
walk
me the fuck
away together, and they're talking about Bela asking her to return to Dragonstone, and that little conversation after, she says, "Do you know who he is?" And like she kind of alludes to something about his background and his relation to their son that had passed and stuff like that. So I haven't delved into exactly what the connection is, but something about who he is before he saved Corlys is important. And she's like holding his face as if to look at him to inspect him. Like, are you really him? Is this the person I think it is?
Do you think this is a faceless man thing? Do you think they know about the assassins and they're like, hey, are you fucking on some bullshit using somebody's face?
She's definitely connecting this man.
She did mention the skin, to be clear. She was like, hey, your skin is nice. I'm not just saying his skin's nice, which is something I think universally you can look at and say, damn, you know, they did their thing on making his skin look
unique. Yeah. Because even though they are who they are, there's not anybody truly like some chocolate brown.
And bald like Caillou?
Yeah.
No, seriously. A lot of people, they got hair in this universe, and this guy's rocking the baldy.
Yeah, white dread.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It is. I think that's an interesting theory. Is this guy going to end up being a faceless man? Holy shit. You didn't commit to it? No. And you're not committing to it. No. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and say, just as a nice, spicy theory here, what if this guy is low-key on some bullshit? She's kind of seeing. She's like, what the fuck is going on, buddy?
I just think he's connected to their son or something about the
You think he was a past playmate of...
So I don't know about that, but it just,
we know how her son got down.
Maybe he's the guy that helped him leave. Because Somebody helped him.
Ah,
leave.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Oh
haven't
damn!
looked
Are we
into it.
forgetting this guy's fucking role? Okay, yeah, we gotta come back.
Like, I gotta
We
look
gotta
into
come back
it.
around next week. We gotta validate this guy, figure out who he is.
His name's
Exactly.
Alan.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out. Alan, did you do something other than just save Corliss? Were you fucking his son back in the day? Is that why you saved him and we don't remember? That's interesting. So either way, so yeah, there's something going on with the face fondling. That wasn't for nothing, but she has a whole
There
moment.
was a huge point to that for sure.
Yeah, she has a whole moment with him. She's talking to Corliss. A lot of it's like, hey, stop fucking going out to sea. And they're just like, hey, we're doing what we're doing. We're doing what we got to do. Oh, this fucking guy. Hey, do you remember this guy right here talking to Allison? Oh,
Yeah.
damn it. I'm trying to
The
get it.
Maester.
Yeah, the Maester. So this is some sneaky shit. He's coming in there. She made a anonymous order for some tea that's going to wreck her insides. And I'm talking about not on some like a cleanse, but a cleanse of sorts. Okay, we're talking about the AB. You know, how do we say this? The
Plan B.
Plan
It's
B. We're talking about
historical
Roe versus
Plan
Wade
B.
here. We're talking about this is serious, deep shit.
It just alludes to the fact. I mean, she holds her stomach.
Yeah,
it alludes to the fact
Allison is
that
pro-choice. We're
that
just going to put it out there.
Sir
It has nothing to do with
Kristen
us.
Cole, he's gonna be a dad.
No, he's not though.
If it works, how do you know that she didn't wait too long? She looks. If she's protruding, if
She was
has
having
tummy-
a time in
She's
there.
pretty thin. She was showing through the bulging ball gap.
Oh no, I think it'll work.
She seemed far enough along that if she wasn't careful,
200
maybe it
years?
would work. It's tea.
200 years from this show, they're bringing people back to fucking
What is
life.
in the tea?
Damn near.
What is
well,
in
they
the
are.
tea
Actually.
that's gonna abort like a 3-month-long baby?
Oh my god, you think they can't kill babies in this fucking time? Come
But with
on.
tea,
Magic is fucking happening. Daenerys couldn't be burned by fire,
he
for
basically
fuck's
said
sake.
it was an upset her stomach. He didn't say anything about her bleeding from it.
Okay,
He
well
didn't
that's
say-
why. Hey,
he
at
knows
first I
that
didn't
she
think it
wanted
was.
it.
I didn't think it was a Roe versus Wade situation, but you made me think that okay, no, this is she's getting rid of a baby here.
Well, she also put some heavy weight on him. It's like, hey, what do you think about my husband naming Aegon the king?
Oh yeah, great
Do you
point.
think
Great
that was
point.
a
Glad you said that.
mistake?
Yeah, she asked the maester. She's
Why
like, "Hey,
him?
did my husband fuck up, or do you believe?" Even she might have even been more like that because he said something like, "Do you have doubts?" And he's like, and she's like, too late for that. That's
She
not,
seems
I asked you a
desperate
question.
for reassurance
Yeah.
about her own feelings.
Anyway.
We talked about last episode her having doubt about
At the
whether
end
or
of it,
not her
when
decision was accurate.
no, when at the end of it, when Rhaenyra comes to
Yeah.
the King's Landing and she's like, "Hey, this was a misunderstanding." She leaves the chapel and she's like, "Hey, I can't even think about that. Too late." So this is an indication that she is continuing to think about it, and she is kind of considering, was it not true and was it false? So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to continue to come up. Is she going to bring this to Aegon's attention that it may have been a mistake, or they may have made a mistake there? Because, like I said, when we left the last episode, I would have been like, hell no, that's not even an option.
Well, it seems like it worked fast enough because then whenever Lord Larys goes haunting for her because she wasn't at the small council meeting, he
Mhm.
sees it sitting there and she's already like by the fire holding herself in a way that makes it seem like it's already kicking in at least.
Yeah, like she's taking dumps or something back to back. Like no, she's seriously like, my stomach's fucked up, and they do only say like, hey, your stomach's gonna have a hard time after you take this. So they don't straight up say like, hey, this is a fucking abortion tea. I think we're far enough into the video to use that word. Like a flag. But yeah, no, I think that definitely that's what's going on. The whole Kristen Cole handkerchief thing, I think that was what that whole thing was about. The whole "can you give me your love?" We're hoping, obviously, Kristen Cole dies in combat. Shout out
Is
to
that what we're hoping?
right? Yeah, that's what we're hoping, right?
Really?
Okay, that's what I'm hoping. He's obviously disgusting.
I mean,
You maybe up there we go. She's taking a swig there, just so everybody can see.
But I guess it depends on what side you're on. If you're on team,
What side are you
green-
on?
Green.
Pick a
team
side,
green
like
or
Metro
team
Booin
black.
said. Goddamn.
Depending on who you're rooting for in this scenario, then he might be a pivotal. I mean, he's not the smartest or most political. He's kind of has these crazy plans to win a war.
You can't not root.
Serious.
You can't not root for Team Black. Obviously, like I said, they set it up with Rhaenyra, where she hasn't made any decision that was really like that morally gray, in my opinion. Anything bad that happens, in reality, it was completely against her intentions and against her hopes. And other people obviously have had to make very questionable moral decisions here. Allison, I think somebody they've dragged through the fucking mud in this season. You hate Allison. You're like, I hope the T kills both of them. Fuck it. No disrespect to the baby.
Okay, so real quick,
Yeah.
the bald guy, Alan,
Yeah.
that saved him.
Oh shit.
He might be Valerian. Maybe that's why he's bald. Maybe he shaves the white hair to hide his identity.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it says that
Mhm.
he was born Alan Paul, and then he was Lord of the Tides, Master of the Ark, and head of Elsewhere.
Oh shit.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Hey, by the way, here's these assholes. Well, shout out to her. These assholes. They're sitting here chopping it up at the meeting because Rhaenyra's gone. She hasn't showed back up from King's Landing yet, so they're sitting here. They're politicking, but in the worst way. These small, like everybody that she chose on her small council, they're cunts. They all suck. Honestly, these all these random dudes, and when they are misogynist and shit, and they're just dickheads to her, it's like, damn, you really couldn't name not one lady? I mean, no, like usually we're shitting on these like Disney shows where they've made every single character in it female, but it's like, bro, both sides of this desk, aside from her aunt or whatever the fuck, is dudes, and they're all fucking hating on her. They're like, she does not know what the fuck she's doing, where is she at, da da da.
Unfortunately, it takes her husband walking in for them to sit down and just listen.
No, that's was it? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Rainey's husband.
Yeah, Rainey's husband. He was kind of stomping.
Yeah, Corliss, I got it right here.
Who are you?
And he
disrespecting her?
they even say, he's like, why the fuck are you guys acting like children in here? Like, you guys are acting like a bunch of bitches. And they basically they accept that. But yeah, they're shitting on Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra does get back at this point, and she basically lets them know, like, war is pretty much unavoidable at this point. That's the message in this scene, you would say? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like they're going to have to make a move at this point. Obviously, she was called back for a reason. They were all fighting constantly, and with Rhaenyra gone at this point, so,
Mhm.
there's nobody to head anybody, and they're all just arguing amongst themselves, not
Mhm.
doing anything. Honestly, no one's
No.
actually making any moves. Whereas you see Sir Kristen Cole and King Green making too many moves and taking over. I mean, he captured 3 different castles and caught that one guy's dad and had
Mhm.
him.
Yep.
And took over. The rest of the soldiers had to bend the knee, or else they would all die.
That's this right here. That's this scene. I'll forward it a little bit. So up here, they end up. So
He's
this,
3 for 3 at this point, and this guy held true and didn't
yeah, he's like, fuck you guys.
and lost his head for it. So respect to him for holding strong.
Yeah.
For King Black.
Yeah, Chris, but I mean, it didn't do any good because he got his head fucking
He's
lopped
also
off.
the father of the one guy she's traveling with. I don't know if he's a maester because of how he dresses. He looks like a maester, but whoever she's traveling with as her companion.
There you go. I got it on the
is his
swing.
father.
I gave you guys the swing there. If you didn't see in the episode, that's the end of the swing. You can imagine. Honestly, it wasn't that devastating of a shot. We recently watched Hell's Paradise on Netflix. Highly recommend that. They go through a whole kind of like executioner kind of like thing. Kristen Cole would have never fucking ever in his life competed with that lady on cutting dudes' heads off.
Well, rest in peace, Lord Darkland.
Darkland, yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to him, and shout out to his family. That is who's running around with Rhaenyra, and they're like 2 peas in a pod. I mean, they infiltrated fucking King's Landing effortlessly, really.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
Rolled up in there. And Kristen Cole's doing shockingly well.
Well, he's just brute force, just going forward
Yeah.
constantly, barely taking breaks, just taking over castles.
No additional respect for Kristen Cole here for what he's done.
I don't know.
Please stop it.
Just knifing people down, with.
That's fucking war. Hello.
I
He's doing this job.
How much is he actually doing himself? We don't really actually see him ever, other than this one beheading.
Cuts the fucking main head off that we hear about.
Okay, well, his soldiers brought this guy. It feels like everyone around him.
Do you see his face is cut, or are you just gonna act like his face isn't cut?
Okay, maybe he caught a straight arrow.
You're gonna make me be a Kristen Cole fan now in here. I'm about to be defending him every week.
Some dirt in his face. I don't know what to tell you with that.
His horse kicked.
I'm not impressed by. I mean, I understand they're trying to insinuate that he's been in battle for days,
And he's been successful.
Successfully taking over 3 different castles. Okay,
You're saying
great.
Talk about the man's resume at this point. I'm not gonna hate on him irrationally.
He also has Allison's brother there. He has an entire
That guy wasn't doing
army
shit.
behind him. They have horses.
None of them were doing shit. Kristen Cole was like leading that thing.
They have the most coin of any army out there. They have every resource they could ever need. It's like it's like glamping, but war.
Yeah,
you know, it's
glamping but killing.
It's the easiest version of what he is doing. And like you mentioned to me before, they don't show you a lot of. They don't sit in this time where they're prepping camp and preparing weapons and planning for war, and you see them in their tents. You don't get that.
And I think that's because a lot of that is going from 10 episodes to 8 episodes. Just look at it with Game of Thrones. When they went from 10 to 8 episodes, a lot of the travel and stuff like that got cut out. But a lot of that was important, detailed information that ended up building out the universe, building out the relationships, building out the dynamics. And as long as those scenes you could still make interesting, whether it be with dialogue or just like kind of side quest confrontations, the Tyrion stuff was almost always a dialogue at a certain point. He was off in fucking Pintos and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So it's like once they knocked it down to 8 episodes, though, all that kind of stuff had to go out the window and it had to be more focused. And that's where we're at with this season. This season is 8 episodes after last season being 10. And I think that's a mistake because definitely you have moments even here in this later on in the episode. You'll see, I think it's Rhaenyra. So somebody says basically it's been 2 weeks since the war's been going. Somebody, I'm like a few weeks. I'm like, God damn, this is 2 seasons, and I feel like a season and maybe like a full season of content now where it's been like, tension. And I'm like, I feel like it's been at least months have passed, and I guess fuck no.
Maybe a little like when she says weeks, maybe like a month and a half. Yeah,
with dragons, you just must be traveling. So look how small the king looks. By the way, look how small Aegon looks. Holy moly!
Well, here in this scene, he finds out that
he looks like a hobbit.
Betrayed by Aemon because he finds out that Kristen Cole's been sending ravens direct. Which how fast do ravens fly?
Okay, but hold on. If I told you this is a scene where a raider is talking, or a ranger or whatever the fuck is talking to a hobbit in Lord of the Rings, would you believe me? I mean, I'm thinking.
With the backdrop, possibly.
Look at the chairs. I mean, come on, chairs shouldn't look like that in comparison to a person. Case, if I was a king, I'd want a tiny fucking chair. I'd be like, God damn, this chair doesn't even fit me. I'm such a fucking huge monster.
You see Lord Larys,
like it's always saying.
You see where Lord Larys is sitting. So you got empty chair of which would be Alicent. You got empty
Kristen.
chair would be Kristen Cole. Then you have him, and then you have at the very end, Aemon. And then this is where they talk back and forth and. High Valerian kind of embarrasses him. It shows that he doesn't really know how to
this shot right here, I missed this in the episode. This embarrasses him even more. The fact he walks around and looks like a little guy. And I mean, when you look at Aemon in the scene, I'm sure that was intentional, by the way, because it's also it's a perspective shot because he's closer to us. So I'm sure also based off the content of this scene, he's supposed to look big in this scene, and Aegon's supposed to look small in the way.
Perspective is everything, though, and I think they're very clever with how they film every scene and the perspective they're giving you and like what point of view they want you to feel like you're in the room. Yeah. But that you're like overseeing the council, you're standing in the corner like a guard.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, by the way, this scene they're talking back and forth in Valyrian. So that's why I was kind of hinting at earlier with the Daemon scene where he's talking to Rhaenyra and Valyrian. You have the same situation here, but it's much more just, really Aemon's kind of privately, publicly humiliate him in the scene because he's fluid in Valyrian, and you have Aegon respond, and it's like broken Valyrian. He's like, I want to war or some shit like that. How do I do war or something like that?
Yeah. Well, he's still mad about being embarrassed at the brothel and his lady.
Oh yeah, last episode,
butt naked last episode. So
yeah.
You can tell he's so salty.
And by the way, anybody that said that he was going out there cock out, like proud, and he was like happy about that he did that. Now you look like fools. He literally was super not happy about that. Like I told you guys. He did it out of, I'm trying not to act like I'm embarrassed, but he was super duper embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was big time.
We also saw in the previous episode where, unfortunately, Aegon's son
Decapitated.
Yeah. Where we see Sir Kristen Cole in Aemon's chambers, and they're talking about the war. They're discussing plans. They're doing all of these things, and we wondered at that point.
Yeah, true. True. Good point.
Where that was going to lead, and why just together why they were doing these things, and it makes more sense now.
Well, we didn't have the payoff last episode. Remember, we were kind of like, "What the hell? Why was that happening?" But then in this episode, you do get that Aegon is upset several times, where he's like, "Why the hell are you guys planning this war behind my back? Why am I not involved?"
No one even asked him.
Yeah, he does. He definitely go. There's many times in this episode. It's a theme. Probably the main thread throughout the episode is Aegon feeling disrespected in some way and having a little bit of an inferiority complex, and really kind of battling with that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else with this scene, by the way, before I move on?
This is just the scene where we learn from Lord Larys that he controls Harrenhal's money.
Oh, yeah.
He knows Harrenhal is haunted and that he believes Daemon's going to be driven mad before he gets a chance to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where it was interesting to know that he knows
what's
going on in that. I mean, we saw too, Daemon first night, been there a couple of hours, was already seeing.
The visions have been plentiful.
Yes. So to experience that so soon, it's immediately entering your mind, despite wooden crazy bed or not.
Yeah, and also we'll get into more of the conversation later, but just to seal that kind of feeling, you hear later about how like the Maester was like driven out of there because he was driven crazy as well. So it's like several times in this episode, they're reaffirming that in your mind, like, hey, this place drives people actually crazy.
Nobody's sleeping here.
Subscribe. But yeah, this is Aegon. You see upset face. He's upset. Definitely still upset. He's very sulky in this episode. Great hair though. Great hair on this guy.
After this, I think it shows Alicent in chambers and more
Yep.
Goes hunting for her and finds her doing her business.
Here he is being creepy.
And then they have that weird conversation.
He's trying to figure out, how do I ask? Like, please whip those toes out. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to take care of this thing in my pants. You feel what I'm saying? Whip those toes out. Let me see them.
She once again shows how desperate she is for reassurance, and she continues this Viserys conversation even with him.
Having private conversations with fucking scumbags.
Whether or not
scumbag blackmailers.
Well, he asked her straight up, and she doubts who she named as king, or who she says Viserys named as king. And she talks about how it doesn't really matter at this point. It's a wash. War is going to happen. A lot of people are going to pass, and unfortunately, the significance of his wishes died with him.
Quote.
So who cares?
And she quotes. And she quotes her. Yes. No, that's facts. She says that pretty much exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that. Because they do mention the Viserys thing, and he's kind of like, what's going on with his dream? And she's like, fuck his dream, basically. She's like, his ass is dead. We're fucked. It is too late, and she does. This is another episode. This is more what I think I was expecting from her after last episode when she walked away from Rhaenyra. I was expecting more of this kind of attitude, like it's too late, it doesn't matter. Fucking doubt, it's too late for doubt. So her having kind of the doubt of the doubt at the beginning of the episode, I thought was interesting. But yeah, so she sits down and has a long fucking conversation with this blackmailer, this known blackmailer that she's personally used to blackmail people.
Who now knows important information about what she's doing and is trying to get rid of this baby. There is a baby. He must know who the baby is by. There's no way he doesn't know.
Oh, he
knows everything.
Yeah, there you go. Look at him, just so you know that he's scheming in this conversation. He's sitting there, he's listening very closely and hanging on to every fucking word she has to say. And he will use it against her later. Master of Whispers, hello. Whoever's king next, he's going to already have the job.
He knows the answer to every question he asks. He's gauging your response to see. He wants to learn more about you based off how you answer a question, not off what you say. Because everyone lies. And he already knows what he wants to know. He wants to see how you react to the question entirely. And I think with her kind of being leaned
you get
back
psychosomatic
in her chair,
on his bitch ass.
or her being leaned back in her chair. Like I think she's like drinking wine or
she is. No, she's drunk on
both.
Look at her. She's drunk on fucking Plan B.
She's like chilling
with her stupid ass,
sipping whatever concoction she's got, and she's just
drunk on abortion wine. You fucking disgust me, lady, with your green ass dress.
so passive about the probably hundreds of thousands.
She looks like she's
people
wearing a rug.
who are gonna die because of this war that could have been prevented. Is just insane. Like she is compartmentalized
Yeah.
genocide at this point
Oh,
by
shit.
Dragonfire.
Free Palestine.
And she's over here
went
just
there.
casually getting pregnant by the guard. by
Fucking
the hands of the
disgusting.
king.
Yeah, she's become a completely irredeemable character. I would like to see what they do with her to try to redeem her if they do at this episode with her over here wearing fucking curtains.
When her daughter
Stop
said
it.
she forgives her, I wonder if she already knew she was pregnant at that time. Because
Oh,
Lord.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're over there getting impregnated, bitch. I know what you were
wonder you
doing while
felt
my
bad.
kid was dying.
She
You
felt-
fucking
You
asshole.
could just tell by her face. She would be sweating trying to talk about it with her. She felt so guilty.
Yeah.
And you wondered why. Because she didn't seem to care so much about the grandson being off. Now it would make sense if the whole time it's because she was scared because she was pregnant by him.
Yeah.
And needed to like cover it up overall. Like no one could know they had been together. Because whose child would it be? She did say it's only been a couple weeks since he's been passed. She could claim it's Viserys.
Oh my
And that
god,
he-
she's
in
disgusting.
his old crippled age.
And the fact that it's only been a couple weeks. Can we just
exactly.
is it not politically correct just to say whore? Can we sometimes just say
Oh
whore?
my
I'm
God,
sorry.
no, you
Yeah,
can't
no, we can say whore. Jesus Christ. 100%. Back in the okay, do you think if in this day they would have let her slide on this whorish behavior?
That's why she's trying to take care of it.
Yeah, no, her
She
ass would have
knows
been they'd have
better.
taken care of that baby for you. And they'd have put your ass on a steak
And
with the
can you
baby.
imagine
Cooked your
The
ass.
child would come out with brown hair instead of blonde.
Yeah, they better not fall for that again. That's the fucking matter of fact, they're 200 years from this story, they're still falling for that, dumbasses.
Oh yeah, still.
Yeah, they're still-
Baratheon all over again.
Hey, guys, you're over here fucking discovering magic and fire water and all this crazy shit. You want to fucking discover genetics at any point? You want to try to figure out fucking genetics, DNA helixes? Fucking idiots. They're over here taking care of babies that's not theirs.
Oh, this is where Damon wakes up.
Yeah, no, this is
Follow. Who does that? Who follows demons?
Harrenhal again. By the way, we can't call women whores. We also can't, I guess, say this place is a shithole. Listen, don't try to let me in there with Trump. I'm just being honest. You know, some things he said were correct. The Harrenhal is a shithole, and then Allison is obviously not the lady herself isn't a whore. She's portraying a whore on TV, though. Let's be honest. She's getting plowed while her fucking grandson got decapitated. So I'm just trying to let me just make my case, okay? Because that didn't happen in this episode. So I want to make my full case. If people are just tuning in on this episode, I'm not just going off the wall calling her a whore because she got pregnant. This lady was getting taken to Pound Town by the guard that was supposed to be protecting her fucking grandson that got decapitated. That goddamn fucking stupid ass guard who I was defending earlier, Kristen, didn't get held responsible for that because he was plowing the fucking grandma. What are we talking about right now? She's horrible. Whore. But either way, we're back in Harrenhal, fucking nightmares. Damon's hearing footsteps. He follows it because honestly, he's like, who gives a fuck if I die?
Oh no,
like,
he follows it because he hears someone draw a sword.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
He's hearing like swords. And he's
You're
like,
right.
what the hell is that? But when he goes, I'm telling you, he sees Aemon, but it's his face on Aemon's body.
What's that about, guys?
And then immediately after runs into Alice, Rivers.
If anybody out there knows, drop in the comments, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram, any of the socials. Twitter. I'd like to know, one, is this Daemon that's in the fucking body of Aemon? It's fucking Freaky Friday situation.
Patch. It's the same hairstyle that Aemon wears at the time of. It
Yeah.
still does. They like half down little thing they do.
Yeah, it's definitely Aemon. They got the fucking eye patch and shit. But then he turns around and it's not Aemon. I'm thinking so.
It's Daemon's face.
You're saying Daemon. Other people have confirmed to me that's Daemon. The internet has confirmed to me it's Daemon. I didn't think it was him. My theory was, just to throw my theory out there in case it ends up being correct, was that because these people haven't seen each other in a while, but I guess it's only been a couple weeks. I can't fucking tell. Time is a fucking theory. Okay, let me fucking finish my goddamn point. Sometimes fucking kids grow quick, man. Sometimes kids grow quick, and sometimes you don't remember how people look in your dreams. So you're like, all right, fuck it, let's move forward. So then we have the fucking witch. He's walking around. He sees his own face on another fucking person's body. What the fuck does that mean? You let us know. Oh my god, I'm guilty for making that person the way they are. We're the same. Stupid ass fucking circle jerk fucking contest. I hated it. Stupid.
How come every time he wakes up, it's her? She's there, right there.
Because she's a night owl. She says, I'm an owl and a fucking person. She says that. We talked about it earlier, and yes, she is. Right here, she's licking blood off her hands. She's a witch. Oh, it's definitely, I think it's blood. I don't know. Was it not blood?
I thought it was like a beat or something.
Oh, shit.
Did.
Okay.
What?
Well, never mind.
Organ?
All right. Well,
What was she
maybe never mind.
holding?
I don't know. I guess the jury's out. Was she licking blood off her finger?
That'd be so
Then
weird.
okay, hold on. When I was watching this with you, and then I was like, "Oh God,
I could tell.
oh
what the
God,
thought was.
why is she doing that?" You weren't like, "Why the fuck are you overreacting to a fucking
Well,
beat,
I thought
idiot?"
I missed something, so I thought I was wrong.
All right.
You had
I
seen
can't find her
something I
stupid
didn't.
ass. Yeah, she looks much nicer there. I don't know. Maybe it was a beat. I can't find that exact scene. But either way, this lady's causing fucking problems. She's making fucking tea. She's making people see shit. Maybe she's not. I don't know. But that's definitely what's being insinuated. So we'll see if that actually is the case. But whenever he's having these visions too, he happens to run into her. The other time he was having the visions, that's when she's like, you're gonna die here. Fucking stupid ass.
Seems a lot more friendly now.
Yeah, for some reason, nobody's going to acknowledge the fact. Why didn't he ask about that? Hey, remember when you said I was going to die here 2 days ago? What was that about? She didn't even mention it.
No.
Oh, hey, remember how I told you you were going to fucking die here? This is how. Like, avoid fucking.
Yeah, he never
the
questioned
stairs.
her, like, why are you always in front of me when I wake up?
Yeah.
Why do you keep popping up? What are you doing?
I think he just, one, he likes the company. Two, he's definitely scared of her. I think this is going to play into something. They might even have a little bit of a love affair. There's definitely going to be a little bit of there's an intrigue there from Damon.
But she knows he's married and knows his background and seems to know everything about him.
First off,
somehow.
she plays by witch rules. She doesn't give a fuck about wives. Let me just be
I
clear
don't
about
think
that.
they
You're
do.
being very
But
naive.
his wife is like the queen, though. That's
She does not
crazy.
give a fuck about queens. She is a witch that possibly licks blood off of her fingers. Says that she's a fucking owl in a human's body. You think she cares about fucking infidelity? You
His
sound
wife
crazy right
rides a
now.
dragon.
She don't give a fuck about dragons either. Go ahead and talk one more time because I'm trying to okay, that was you. Nice. Okay. Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck about dragons or any of that conventional shit. She is a witch. She probably is on some Hansel and Gretel eating children shit.
Oh my
She gives me those vibes. She's a creep. But I think Damon's gonna like that and be intrigued by that. He definitely doesn't give a fuck about a wife. He cheated on the last one, the last two actually. He cheated on them happily. He didn't give a shit about it.
This one kind of looks like the first one.
He's trying to get his fucking willy wet a little bit. He might have been like, "Hey, I missed out on that first wife. I need to go ahead and retry that again." The brunettes, bring them back. But yeah, so I think that's gonna be the end of him though. It's definitely gonna fuck him up. He's gonna be on some what was the fucking Ragnar Lothbrok, man? Remember when he fucking started hanging out with that fucking Chinese lady? No disrespect.
Oh,
Yeah, but started doing drugs and shit.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he fucking strangled her ass in the fucking river.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. No, never forget about that. No, Ragnar went hard. But yeah, I could see a similar fate for Damon going down a dark path. He decides he has to just go ahead and strangle this bitch real quick because he cheated on his wife who has dragons.
Well, he's
So-
seen about almost in this scene. He sees Lena, his other ex-wife. He's about seen everybody but the first wife.
Yeah. He might be trying to get another wife. This guy right here, though, comes to talk to Damon because remember earlier he's talking to the Tully and he's like, "You're a fucking child. Get the fuck out of here. Bring me somebody serious."
He's a Blackwood.
He's a Blackwood. Yeah, they bring him to Blackwood. There's a battle between the Blackwoods and the Brackens, I think is what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we need to, if you could confirm this for me whenever you get a second over there. The Blackwoods. Well, one, could you tell me who's the family from the Game of Thrones Telltale video game? Because anybody out there that played that video game, that was a completely kind of side story that was interwoven, but there was a family that had a history in Game of Thrones that they used for this. It might have been the Blackwoods. So I'm wondering if it is them. But this right here, this guy is from the Blackwoods, and you have this like long rivalry between them and the Brackens. So they're having these battles. But Damon's trying to get him to commit Bannerman to the battle, to his battle. I don't know. It's kind of because you also you have the witch lady. She's asking Damon too, like, "Are you going to try to become king for real? Are you serious about that?" And he's just he's holding his cards close to the vest.
Yeah, because these people have already been Bannerman for his wife. So
Yeah.
by calling them here, basically asking the same thing again, it's like, so for me now, my turn.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I think that what ends up happening with this family in the Bracken, they end up fighting.
I don't know how many of them are left because we saw them that one battle. Where most of the
This is the same family that was fighting in the last one.
Yeah. He's from that group.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Seems like they shouldn't have spared him.
One of them, the leader, which I believe was his father, he was murdered in that battle.
Oh, really?
Yes, and when they went to council meeting, like an episode or something ago, they mentioned how he had, and I'm assuming his father had been killed, and that was a victory for them. And they were like, well, we've lost so many people on both sides. How can they claim this as a victory? And he's like, I'm going to call it war.
He's like, yeah, it is.
That was like the first step in what he considered to be his version of war, where he's control. I mean, he didn't really call for that. They kind of just ended up fighting. But he just took it in stride as a win there. But yeah, I'm assuming that's why this younger guy is here doing this, because his father was killed in that previous.
So he got elevated.
The battle at Burning Mill, I think is what it was called. Yeah. I'm pretty sure his dad
last
died.
episode.
Yeah, his dad died in that one.
And this right here, by the way, this is Daemon's second wife. Before Rhaenyra, and where he had his two daughters. So she's not actually there. This is another situation where he's hallucinating. If I could show you the lady that's actually there, it's hilarious. Oh, there she is. Look at this lady. So I mean, yeah, not the same. But so he's hallucinating. This guy's sitting there talking to him. He's not even hearing it because he's so fucking spaced out and hallucinating about seeing his dead wife who died in childbirth. And even Simon here, he's kind of picking up on that a little bit, I think, in this. He's like, what the fuck? I got a real Biden sitting here at the fucking council meeting making decisions. Okay, yeah, we're back in the small council meeting with Aegon. Shit's still fucked up over there. You already know Aegon's shitty. People are not telling him what's going on. He's like, what the fuck? I'm the king. Is there anything else with the second small council meeting? I don't know.
Just mentioned that they had no money left. Like, they're out of money. And he said he was bored with that. And then he goes back to his chamber, finds his mom snooping through stuff. She's begging for Viserys books. He's like, I had him removed. She gets mad.
Yeah, he does storm off. I guess that's really the main point here.
And then they have that conversation where she ruins everything.
Yeah. Let's get over there to this. This is important. Yeah. Here's Allison. She's not even looking at him. She's like, this dumbass is here again. I'm sipping on my fucking abortion tea. We'll pull her up here. I'm sipping on my Plan B. This motherfucker's over here harshing my vibe. I'm trying to get in here and kill this baby in my belly. This bitch, come on, pro-life. What the fuck's going on? No, but she was actually ahead of her time. I'll be honest. Allison was a fucking trailblazer. Roe vs. Wade. But yeah, she's sitting here sipping on her abortion tea. If you don't see, check the fucking picture I have it. Look at her eyes. She's lit right now. She's lit on that Plan B tea. You feel what I'm saying? But so she's sitting here. Her fucking son. If you remember last time her son needed her, once again she decided to go get fucking pounded. She went to fucking Pound Town like she's fucking Sexy Red in goddamn House of the Dragon. I don't know what the fuck this bitch thinks she is. She needs to get her shit together. But her fucking kid this time decides, I'll just go fucking seek her out and say, please, I need help. I need somebody to say something nice. And he's basically saying that. He's like, these motherfuckers are planning shit, not telling me. He even, like, this glass that you see in front of him, by the way, he breaks that if it's not clear. That might be after the conversation. So never mind. That wasn't. I don't know if she got that red flag. I don't want to be unfair to her. Yeah, I don't want to be unfair to her.
Just to be rebellious. Yeah. Because he's so, like, lost. He doesn't even know he's a kid.
No, he needed to feel something. Yeah. So he needed to break something. But no, he's wilding out. He's talking to his fucking mom. Please say something nice. Say I'm smart. She's like, hey, you will never be half the fucking king as your dad. You suck. You suck. Like, honestly. She's basically like, you suck. We might have fucked up naming you as king. She kind of gets into it again with that, I feel like. Like, she's like, you don't know how much we went through to make this happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sacrifices that were
yeah. So more of like, you didn't do this. It didn't just happen, motherfucker. Shit had to go down. So really letting him know. Like, and then by the end of this conversation, she's telling him, you know, you need to do nothing. That's kind of the trigger. He's like, what can I do? And she's like, you need to do nothing, which probably was good advice.
It was, but it was the delivery. She ruined it.
Yeah.
She could have waited one day. I mean, please.
Yeah. Just be supportive one time. Just be supportive. But you know what? Yeah, you had a tough day. Look at. I mean, that's the look she's giving him on the other side of the table.
If we're going off the timeline that she herself has given us a few weeks. I'm gonna go with 6. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give him 6 to 8 weeks.
True.
That's how long it's been. That's my timeline.
Okay? Yeah.
So if we're going off that, this kid has had his father die, turned around, became king.
Yeah.
Under a threat of dragon fire,
Mm-hmm.
and then had his brother turn on him and betray him over and over again and embarrass everything.
What about his kid getting decapitated?
Then his child gets decapitated.
Head cut off.
Then he goes to war for the first time in how many? What was it, like 80 years? Something like that. Time. A long time of peace. We're going to war for the first time in his existence or memories of his father's existence. So all of this has happened in 6 weeks' time. So he has lost control of everything. He fired his hand. He hired a new one.
This is his grandfather,
who's now stepdaddy Junior.
Fucking his mom.
So we're not doing so great. He has completely sent his wife off to I don't even know where she's
We haven't seen
She's
her. I don't think. Yeah.
This episode,
she's in the shadows somewhere.
His daughter, no one cares about at this point.
His wife's looking. I mean, his mom's looking at him right now at the table, like, get a fucking job, is what she looks like.
She grew a backbone on the wrong day. She needed to wait. It was
backbone. Sometimes I think we use the wrong words. I'm just saying backbone / she just gave up. She gave up on being a fucking.
She spiraled.
I mean, to be honest, she already had given up on being a mom. Like I said, she saw him sobbing after his child got decapitated, and rather than console him, she's like, let me just go get my fucking back broken by Kristen Cole. And then what she would later on go do while her grandchild was getting decapitated. But she didn't have enough the first time. Just a fucking bottomless pit, this fucking whore. I'm just saying, she's a fucking hedonist. Right. Like, God, she has a problem. That's why I need you as a producer, you know what I mean? Keep it okay, so let's move on. Let's move on, because I could go on for days. Allison, just come on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not wrong, though. I'm not wrong. If you remember The Big Lebowski with fucking John Goodman's character? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? All right, so we're in the woods here. This is, I'm pretty sure, Sir Gawain and all them, they're kind of like setting up camp. I think we're seeing that.
Yeah, he's defeated the 3 other castles.
Yeah, we're seeing they're doing good.
He wants to surprise the pack by daylight and head towards Rook's Rest.
Yeah, Kristen Cole doesn't want to stop. This is where what I was talking about earlier, where you have some, at this point, to this point in the episode, you have like some insinuation that Harrenhal might be the next target and just like kind of the logical target they're thinking. That's where Aegon wants him to go. And you're hearing from Larys where Larys is telling them, don't do that. It's haunted. It's fucked up. So what we were talking about earlier, that's where this kind of plays in, because in a way they've been anticipating that Harrenhal might be the next spot. And I don't even know if they know that Daemon hasn't sent a raven. So if they don't even know that Daemon's already claimed it.
Been waiting.
Yeah, they've been waiting to hear back from Daemon.
Assumed at this point. I mean, come on. She probably passed by there on the way to.
She didn't even stop him.
King's Landing. Yeah. She finally came back. Everyone's like, "Here you go, disappearing again."
Yeah, they were kind of shitty about it. And like, when in her absence, you remember last episode they were telling her like, "Hey, you need to like go somewhere and get the fuck away so we can run the war council." And she's like, "That's treason. I'll hang you guys." And then she immediately is like, "Well, but I will go for a little bit, but don't do anything."
And this poor guy comes back to find out his father's been beheaded.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think that's where we got it freeze framed right there. You see him, he just got some shitty news. He's like, what? Hold on.
At least he has this, I feel like he has a sigh of relief when they tell the queen that he got beheaded because he held fast and stayed true to his word. That's why it happened. So it's like oh God, thank you for at least.
And let's be clear.
At least you went out in the best way possible for me.
And his dad was like fucking 90 years old too. So I mean, like, if he didn't get the call that he got beheaded, he could have got the call that he had a fucking cardiac arrest and died tomorrow. So it's like, you know, I'm just saying, it's not the same as babies getting their head cut off, you know.
Well, they realize that they're going to go to Lord Starn's castle next, and she's confused because obviously it's small. Yeah. Everyone knows it's small, but it's because it's a trap. That's the problem. She's not seeing any of that, so she's not.
Well, it's a trap, and I think they say also that they like the position of it.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons that in the small council they're suggesting, because something about it cutting off everything to Dragonstone, so where Rhaenyra is. Yeah, so you have them point their directions officially there, and then Rhaenyra here is what we're looking at right now, though. So yeah, she has that whole conversation where she kind of lets them know it's inevitable, war is going to happen. Her son is really shitty that she went and risked going to King's Landing. He's like, you should have never done that. if you die, this is all for nothing. And, you know, they kind of have a whole thing back and forth there as far as like, go ahead.
I was shocked that he spoke to his mother like that.
Oh, he was,
everybody. I've
yeah.
never seen him do that crazy. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Are you? He is. I think possibly it's because she's been putting pressure on him that you're the next heir in line. Because we spoke about that before in the last one, where despite everything,
he's like, hell no, I don't want a target on my back like that, bitch. You better stay alive.
If Aegon, the current king, I guess, were to go down, he would be Luke.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke would probably be like, I'm cool. I don't really need all that.
He's getting saucy with his mom, though.
Yeah, he definitely is getting a little upset with her, and upset kind of in a similar way to Aegon, where he's upset that he's not being included in plans as well. I feel like
she ends up telling him though the important stuff.
Eventually. Sure. Well, same thing with Aegon. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, they're over there. And he's like, you motherfuckers. But yeah, so they have that back and forth. It's kind of interesting to see. I'm curious where it's going to play out, what his role is going to be going forward, how he's going to be utilized, because they end up deciding here. Because they end up, is this the point where they have the conversation who's going to go to Rook's Rest to intercept them? Because because they have a conversation, Team Black does. They end up having a conversation on who's going to end up being the person to go basically intercept the soldiers that are going to take Rook's Rest. And I think Rhaenyra is going to go, and then they also have this conversation where it's like, that's not acceptable. We can't do that. You can't go. And I think Luke wants to go, and that becomes the issue where they're saying, hey, you don't have the experience. And then we have Rhaenys over here. Let me try to get her picture, but yeah, she had battles, and some of the book readers and stuff like that know that there is some backstory on her going to war when they were keeping in check like Dornish people and shit, just setting them ablaze. So she is fairly adept with the dragon, and also you've seen her several times just going out on patrols. So they've definitely highlighted that, hey, when she needs to use her dragon, she gets busy and she'll fuck some shit up. So that's what ends up being the decision here. That's why she's looking into the fire longingly. Anything else for that season? I mean, that scene?
No, because you don't even see Corlys like really react or say goodbye.
Yeah, he's pretty chill.
She kind of just leaves the room immediately.
They're big.
Go get ready.
They're big, like duty people though too. So I feel like Corlys probably hears that, and he's like, "Yeah, that is actually like what makes the most sense."
Yeah.
Yeah. So he probably just accepts it. There is definitely no protest from him. You probably would look crazy being like, the queen needs to go. Actually.
Yeah.
You look kind of nuts.
This is where they have the fire.
Oh yeah, yep. That's actually important. Let me not skip that. I'm glad you said that. So yeah, after they decide who's going to go, so they decide that it's not going to be Rhaenyra or her son. They end up having this conversation that was had to her with Viserys, and also Alice. This is the whole miscommunication, by the way, because the people that have this prophecy, it is Rhaenyra. So when Alicent was hearing the Aegon story, she was thinking that he was talking about Aegon, his child. So she's passing that same story along, the Ice and Fire story, that there's a bigger battle, and Aegon had a dream that there was this force coming to destroy mankind and all this shit. So she passes that along. That's interesting because, I mean, I'm not going to say that it leaves it open for her to die, but it does keep that. It passes that story along, so it doesn't die with her theoretically. You know what I mean? So
yeah, if something were to happen, they are going to war. It makes sense that she's preparing for
she should.
What if something happens. She
could damn near run on that. That should be like a campaign promise. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to fight. I guess you can't say we're going to fight that was Jon Snow's promise many years later, but just that there's a bigger fight. But get people together on unity as far as that different threat out there. And I guess, like I said, even saying that, I'm like, at this point, people probably wouldn't go for that. The threat doesn't seem as real, of the White Walkers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when Jon Snow was saying that, people were like, "Get the fuck out of here! We have bigger problems than snow zombies, idiot."
They can't conceptualize that.
Yeah. So that's what makes sense.
If you tell the story, it doesn't make sense enough.
I'm wrong.
Their
okay.
minds to even get anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's just something.
Pass the story along.
Obviously, they do though, because we see
Eventually.
that later. It
Eventually.
gets passed along. So whatever they do now, it does work.
Yeah. At this time, they'd laugh at you and say, "You get the fuck out of here."
I think to this extent that the wall's already built.
Mm-hmm.
In this part of the story.
Well, and also, by the way, you're right, and you're seeing at the same time here, Aegon. Aegon is, you see him bonding with his dragon. You see Rhaenys doing the same, bonding with her dragon. You kind of get a couple shots of, the Targaryen and dragon relationship, which I think was cool. You have like a moment. I don't know if I can pull it up here because it's just like a quick moment where this dragon comes up and like hugs them and shit, and she's hugging her dragon. So definitely like you see that they have a bond and like a love for their dragon before they're going out to war, and you kind of get the gravity of it. That's one of the biggest moments of true gravity that you do get to see here as far as leading up to it. And here you go, I'll leave it there. So at this point, I really think you don't know what to expect between who's right here. We're off the battle again, old girl. So I don't really think that you know what to expect going into this battle, because you have Criston Cole, and then you have and his people, and then you have them marching on this small castle. So you don't expect much of a defense. So it really becomes like this rogue unit of army versus this castle, this fortified castle, and then these dragons that are both en route. And you know about both these dragons that are en route to this battle that's happening.
I'm honestly impressed with how well the castle held them off when they
were same.
The sequence of arrows and stuff. It was impressive how many people they were getting.
And this was this was probably the best, I think, battle scene that we've gotten from this. Not Game of Thrones, from House of Dragon altogether. So Game of Thrones obviously has some legendary battle scenes, the Battle of the Bastards and the Long Night Battle and all that. This battle was probably the best that we've seen in House of Dragons. This was really cool. Even the battle before you see any dragons, I think, was really neat, because like what you're saying as far as like the castle holding them off, you see them rotating archer units and stuff. So they're definitely down to defend, and also which shows you they're Team Black. They're not like fucking Harrenhal, like, oh, march right in here. We'll pledge allegiance to whoever shows up with an army. I mean, these people are threatening with an army. Just shout out to these bowmen. I wanted to definitely shout them out before we move on past, because this obviously ends up becoming completely irrelevant once fucking dragons show up. Once dragons show up, these bowmen can eat a dick. All the people all the infantry on the field. And that's what we've been leading up to this entire time, is once you introduce dragon warfare, and Criston Cole, we see him kind of talking about it, like, you've given the war over to dragons. So there definitely is a feeling amongst both sides that once we hit this button, it's a completely different war. The war looks different. And this is the first time you're really seeing on the battlefield it change. And the reason, let me get forward a little bit, is because this is the first time right here. I think we're seeing Aegon, maybe. This might be Aegon, or it might be the other dragon. But let me see if I can pull up whose it is, because I do want to have that correct. Okay, so no, it's Rhaenys. So her dragon, they end up pulling up, and they get there, and they're like, hallelujah, dragon has come to save us. This is the first time that we're seeing over an active battle that I can remember where you're getting two dragons fighting it out. I'm not sure if that correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, so you get her showing up and you get Aegon showing up. They're having the battle above, and you see all the action going below, where everybody kind of almost like stops fighting each other because they're trying to account for the dragon coming along, laying waste to 100, well, maybe 50 to 100 people at a time with blasts of fire landing on them. It just changes the entire landscape immediately, as you would think it would, obviously. And at that time, by the way, this is interesting. Let me pull him up. You see Aemon here. So Aemon here, you see Rhaenys pull up, and then Criston Cole's like, oh, give the signal. The signal is actually for Aemon and his giant dragon. What's the dragon's name? Vhagar. Yeah, Vhagar. So yeah, it's for him. This was actually planned the entire time. That's really the twist and the interesting part of this episode. To be completely honest, in my opinion, most of this episode was probably the most boring episode so far. It really leads up to this point where you get this dragon showdown. So they had planned this entire thing, like producer Ken over here was talking about earlier. This going for Rook's Rest was really a effort to pull the dragon out from Rhaenyra. But then Aegon ends up messing that up because he shows up because they're like, do nothing. He's like, fuck all you guys. I'm going to actually ride this dragon, which he decided not to the episode before. And we thought it might be that was just, you were just stalling him by not having him fly off. In this episode, yeah, it was a stall. He decided, fuck that, we're flying out there. So they're fighting in the air. He's getting his ass tore up. Everybody's watching him kind of get his ass whooped. Aegon's getting his ass whooped. It's very clear. And they're sending off the signals to Aemon still. And Kristen Cole's like, what the fuck? And this is, by the way, Kristen Cole's been on the job for a week, and he's had babies die. He's had Queen Regents get impregnated from him. It's just been a lot of bad shit. Now you got the king on the battlefield, and he's getting his ass whooped. And you're just not preventing shit. So he's out there, and everybody's kind of standing by. Aemon eventually kind of joins the battle. Let me see here.
I always wonder if he shot fire at if Aemon shot fire at his brother to remove him from battle quickly on purpose to help keep him safe in his own way, just in a crappy version of help. Or was it he had malicious intent, like he wanted to harm him? Because I feel like he didn't really, if he wanted to kill him, he probably could have.
Well, let's make it clear for the people, because we didn't get to that literal part, but what you're getting onto is exactly what we're going to talk about. You have them tied up. Aemon comes over to help out, and both dragons are tied up fighting with claws and stuff. He decides to not discriminate and just send out total annihilation fireball on both of them. Fuck them both up. And it definitely works. He does fuck them both up, but he fucks up Aegon a little bit more. Aegon plummets to the fucking ground, tore up. And we don't really know what happened with him at this point. He just crashes out, and he's not a part of the fight anymore. Now it's Aemon and it's Rhaenys fighting back and forth. And at one point you have a scene where it looks like she might even possibly like retreat, to be honest. She's like over the water, and she decides to turn back. Did you feel like that as well?
Yeah,
there's like a point where she was
gonna go, and then she's like, I can't, I gotta turn around and finish it. And because like I said, I don't know if he showed restraint or what he was doing, restraint towards Rhaenys, and then tried to just remove Aegon from the situation. But it's almost like even in the beginning when he tells Vhagar to leave, and he's back down in the woods, it's like he's really, the timing is super important for him, but what he's doing seems important too. And I feel it's almost like he doesn't pursue, and neither does she. They both fly in opposite directions. Okay, it could be a wash, and she could just go back. She turns around, and then it makes it where they have to. She forces the situation. Now they have to attack each other, and unfortunately, Aemon's not going to get shown up, and he's going to do what he came to do.
Yeah.
So he was very strategic with everything. I think she needed someone like in her ear, like
get the fuck out of there.
Like telling her, like reassuring her what she should be doing, or giving her insight as to like what they see from the ground, because she just needed backup of something. Something.
She needed radio communications.
Yes, she needed a coach.
They're focusing on all the wrong shit in this universe. This scene too, you see her right here. I think this is when she turns around. She's like attacked Meleys. They turn back around. They go back to fuck shit up.
They should have sent Baela.
They should have sent everybody. Fuck it. If you're gonna do dragon shit, send the whole goddamn dragon fleet.
Just as like a secondary, and even just to retreat and to tell Rhaenyra, like, hey, and she's losing. Hey, she just got taken.
Well, the thing is too, that fucking they have the biggest dragon. They already know about Vhagar or whatever the fuck Vhagar. They know that he's a big motherfucker and that he fucks shit up. They know that they just killed Jace's dragon and him easily fucked him up. So it's like they know that they're and they know of Aemon. They know that he's a problem. So it's like it is kind of odd that they didn't decide to commit a little bit more, considering they have a few dragons at their command. Daemon not being there hurts, I guess. They would have been able to maybe send him and somebody else, which sucks because she had the option just to go burn shit up with Daemon earlier, and she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So he was trying to tag team shit.
He's not sent word. She didn't tell him what she was doing before she was going to do it. And at this point, they're acting so quickly that he wouldn't have been told anyway. So it's good they're not heading towards Harrenhal, but it's like at this point, I don't even know what he's doing. He's just sitting here trying to recruit people for his own cause while a war is going on, and has no idea what's happening. And it seems like no one's telling him anything either. He's not trying to seek information. Like he knows the war's going on, but he hasn't been updated. He's not checking in. I don't know. He's in his own world. Like,
Yeah, Damon's useless right now.
Yeah,
Whatever the
he's
fuck he's doing is completely
building
waste
for a
time.
cause that the war is already
At
happening.
a haunted fucking castle.
It's too late.
He's trying to ask ghosts for fucking help
You
and
gotta
shit.
move on at this point. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
What else is there to do? Like Allison says in that one scene with Lord Laris, whoever wins this war is going to take the Iron Throne. It's not going to be like, oh, well, let's reconsider Damon.
Yeah, there's no reconsideration at this
He's
point.
over here.
Well, especially now that he's trying to make a claim. He could have been fucking king, whatever the fuck, side king or whatever they call that, first king.
And we see how,
It's like
how hard it is to make a claim.
And they even mentioned something about like he may want to take the throne for himself and then have Rhaenyra as his queen. Somebody said that in this episode, I think. Maybe the witch. It's like, fuck no, she's not going for that. She got her own claim that people are dying over her kids and shit. Stupid.
It's deeper than, like she says, it's more. I can't just send dragons to war over titles. It's way more than that. It's deeper because of what her father told her.
Exactly. And you got fucking David over here jerking off the titles. Fucking loser.
It's got to be worth dying to this extent. Like, we're killing our own kin.
Well, speaking of which, you have Rhaenys there. That's after her fucking dragon gets its like head decapitated by a chomp. I don't know what happened. He got fucked up. You see the light leave the dragon's eyes. She's obviously mortified. She falls long and hard to her death. She's definitely a goner. And that's the end of that. So rest in peace to her. Really, that's all there is to say. Aemon fucked her up.
Yeah, honestly.
Rest in peace.
We don't have confirmation of her body.
Come on.
She is fireproof.
She fell from 1,000,000 feet.
I'm
What the fuck are we even talking about?
It exploded when it hit the ground. She is fireproof. Like all the other.
If she survived, we might as well call this shit the Marvel Cinematic Universe because there's no fucking way.
I don't think she survived, in my opinion, but
no.
Is it possible?
No, it's not even possible. Look at how far she is right there.
Oh, it'd be ridiculous.
What the hell?
She landed on a building. But I'm just saying, you don't know till you know. Just like how they're leaving it hanging with everything else too, as to who's injured and who's okay and who's,
Yeah, let's get into that before you get ahead of me there a little bit. All right, so there's Aemon. He's over there. He's looking at where Aegon fell. This is unclear because you have him here. He just walks away. Kristen Cole walks over there, and he's disgusted by what he sees. Probably because I'm assuming that the king is crispy as shit over there, which does leave me kind of confused with the whole Targaryens can't be burnt or whatever. That rule seems like they play real fast and loose with it. You're saying the other lady, Rhaenys, she could not be burnt. So, okay. She looked fine. I'll tell you what, she looked fine after being burnt by Aemon the first time. So, yeah.
She got hit in the face with fire and looked fine. Her hair wasn't
yeah, no, for sure. So, but yeah, this is Aegon. So he's over there. He's fucked up. I'm wondering if we get a Cripple King part 2 after we got his dad, who was all fucked up, Viserys at the end. We're going to have a similar kind of version of Aegon, but just the burnt, crispy version.
He's definitely going to have injuries.
He's definitely going to have injuries.
His dragon's, his name is Sunfire.
Yeah.
Down hard.
He's probably
still
dead.
Alive, though, but the
fact okay. The dragon's...
it was breathing. The fact that the dragon itself is alive is a great indication that he is alive, but injured. I wonder if the dragon was curled around him, and if he was like, they almost don't lift the camera up high enough for you to see in, but it's like where they're looking and focusing on, it's almost like there's something in the center, which could be crispy Aegon, and then there's Sunfire wrapped around or laying on its side or back, whatever it is, with the wing out. So it's like, I don't know if they're focusing on
I think it's Aegon.
Barbecue or
it's Aegon, barbecue Aegon.
But he almost acts like he's seeing or witnessing Aemon about to kill Aegon. He's like yells at him to put his sword down.
True.
He was trying to sheath his sword so he could pick up what was his brother's weapon that had fallen onto the ground. It was an indication of where he was located.
Hey, but maybe he was about to go over there and kill him. I don't know.
I don't think that.
I think all bets are off. No, I'll say all bets are off because, like you said earlier, this is signs. We were saying earlier in the episode when they had the High Valyrian, sparring match where they were kind of like light arguing. Aemon is not over the humiliation, and that's probably not the only time this humiliation. There's a lot of resentment and deep-seated issues, and we even said earlier in the season when Aemon said, quote, that his brother was loyal as a hound.
Yeah.
This is maybe the perception is not the reality, and he's not as loyal as a hound. In the history books, it's a good distinction as far as like the history to this that this is based off of. Aemon is not directly implicated in what happens to Aegon. So that's interesting that in this is maybe not diverting, but giving more clarity to what was said in the source material. So that's interesting. And I think that's a really cool way that they can play with this as far as like play with the source material and adapting it, where, you know, sometimes in a history book, maybe certain things wouldn't be put in, like maybe if, you know, a fucking royal prince injured a royal king, they maybe would blame somebody else, like blame Rhaenys, which is what's going to happen. They're going to blame her for everything that happened.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a convenient cover story in a way. It literally is like a medieval cover story, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested. I want to see what's going on with Aegon. I think his character development's been really interesting. I wonder how much of that will still be intact, how much he'll be able to speak and command things and all that to continue to see his character develop. I think from episode 1 to this episode, that's been one of the coolest parts of this season. Seeing him become king and just how he's developed through all the crazy shit that's happened to him, and from becoming a king and family members dying around him and all that kind of stuff. And then even into this episode where there's that kind of like inferiority complex where it ends up pushing him to go into combat without any real experience, with a relatively small dragon. I mean, I think his dragon was smaller than fucking Melissa's dragon.
I mean, he's made king so young. The dragon hasn't had long enough to grow up. It's the same issue that like Bela is. Her dragon's probably around the same size. She's a little bit older, and she's supposed to be.
I think if I remember right, Aemon, I think he took that dragon, right? That was a whole episode in the last season where several people wanted that dragon.
Was it Vicar Lemus?
I think so.
I remember the daughters were mad that he took the dragon from them, but the dragon had just, bonded with him or accepted him or chose him, whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah. They fucking avatared their ponytails together.
Yeah, Rhaenyra has 3 dragon eggs that she sent, but she also has like 3 children
currently
that are young. So I don't know if those dragons are meant to have.
I'm sure for them, probably, yeah. Who knows? I mean, Daenerys had to literally get in the fire with her shit, so I don't like how these kids are just like handed fucking eggs and not cool.
With the dragon
and they're giving it to them before they're fucking even 18, old enough to drive the shit. But yeah, we'll be back next week. By the way, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. This is Game of Thrones. We're chopping it up. Thank you, producer Ken, big dog in the house. Hey, killed it every week. That's right, in the building. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
Every single time. This will always be quite a joy to get your perception is always very interesting and perspective on these episodes. So I like to get it, and you always bring up something that I might have missed. So it's important to have you in these conversations. And then obviously we'll see where all this goes, where the war ends up developing. I mean, now we're official. It's hot. We got dragons. Dragons are in the air. They're killing people. They're killing each other. People are bowing down to the dragons. Criston Cole's rendered obsolete again. He's a little shitty about that, even though he was trying to get the dragons to come out. That didn't make much sense. And he's like, "You've given the world to the dragons," but wasn't that kind of you trying to do that? Yeah, weird. But he's just an asshole. Anything to fucking have an issue. You know what I mean? He's that guy. Criston Cole, fuck you, buddy. Other than that, Rhaenyra, Team Black over here, sit in politics, subscribe, show some love, share this with a Game of Thrones / House of Dragon fan. Get this content out there. Don't be greedy. Let's see. Let's get it to other people. Get involved in the conversation. Let me know whose team you're on, what characters you're fucking with, what characters you're not fucking with, who needs to die. And rest in peace to Malice and Rhaenys. Bars.